I've been learning sign language for about 3 months, so when I go to coach individuals that are deaf or hard of hearing, I can actually work with them, and to do this, instead of sitting at home and doing it on Zoom, I'm actually going out and working within or communicating within the deaf communities. This morning I'm going to go to a cafe and see if I can record some of the conversations that are going on, and hopefully give those that are hearing the confidence maybe to just turn up to a deaf community meetup and try and learn some sign language. Because even though I am half deaf, I am still hearing. I went to mainstream school, so I am different from those that are profoundly deaf and grew up deaf. So I wasn't very confident at all going to any of these events at cafes. I need to remember cafes. Now I have been before, so I'm not new, but practicing with others is better than doing it on my own, so I'm gonna go there this morning. It's literally like as soon as I walk through those doors, I'm there. I'm engaged. I'm with the people that are there. So the camera, I didn't even think about it. So no recording to prove that I was there or B-roll in the background. So I'm gonna just talk about it when I get back. You know, it's funny. The idea of me recording my days to make it look all cinematic, and then I thought, you know what, I can't be bothered to do all the cinematic edits. So when I record these things, I guess I wonder, what am I actually going to do with it? I'm now in the edit. Obviously, I'm recording a voiceover. And every time I look back at these as a recording, I'm like, I look so confused. Looks great face there. Yep. What was that? Oh yeah, I was dropping the camera to make sure I was in shot, and then I realized actually, you know what, the sun's gonna get in the way. So I was like, let's do a transition. I'm figuring this out as I go along. Now, the first thing I want to say is those that are deaf, that go to deaf meetups, communities, don't necessarily know BSL. I learned this the first time that I went to one of these meetups because there was a person there that didn't know BSL, but they were deaf. And this kind of confused me a bit. And there was another person like that today. Now, they were an older lady and they rely on lip reading, not sign language, which to me is interesting. But more significantly for those that want to coach or educate or work with those that are deaf or maybe hard of hearing, BSL isn't the solution because not everyone knows it. I don't know if it's the same in other countries, but for me, this just shows that even if you don't know BSL, turning up to a deaf club, deaf community of some kind is okay. It doesn't matter if you don't know BSL, so I would actually encourage people that are just thinking about it to find out. Go on Facebook and find a group, find a deaf group or deaf community, and just experience what it's like. Wow, my time is tight. I just had to get onto a call, and now I'm going on a call in like 20 minutes, so I'll get back to you. Right, okay, and then the second thing that I wanted to mention, I think I finished off the first, but the second thing I wanted to mention was the price. Like the courses to learn BSL are so expensive, and I was asking other people, sort of like, what do they think about the courses? And it was interesting to see the different perspectives. Most of the people that are profoundly deaf and they grew up deaf, obviously BSL is their first language. It's their only language in some cases. So they don't take a course, they're not going to pay loads of money to do a course that they already know the answers to. So then I obviously asked, well, do you think I need to do a course? Do you think I need to pay for a course? And they actually said, not really, unless you need the qualification. The qualification, the piece of paper as sort of proof that I know sign language, which I totally understand. However, they also sort of added that, well, I can communicate. I am communicating with those that are deaf. Could it be better? Well, yes, it could be. But will I learn that on a course? On a course, maybe a level 1? Don't know. Level 2 or level 3? Probably, but that's more money, which I don't have. And I think this relates to so many other things where you need to pay for a course to actually be included in the community or included in being able to coach or help anyone. As you might be able to tell, it's a little bit frustrating and stressful to talk about this, but I feel like it should be spoken about more. Yes, money is important. Yes, organisations need money to organise everything that's going on and obviously pay the people that are doing the courses. But as a person that wants to learn, it's frustrating. Now, the third thing that I want to mention is school. Most of those that are deaf, that I am aware of at least, go to mainstream school, and so they either have an interpreter or a support worker of some kind inside of school. So some of the kids aren't learning BSL. Now, in 2025, the GCSE is going to have a BSL course, which I'm like, yes, great, I think, because the teachers are going to have to learn BSL, or they're going to have to get someone in every single school to be able to teach it, which I think is going to be a bit of a problem. But it could mean more people are using BSL. This is obviously in Britain, of course, in Australia, America, ASL, and I think ASL? I don't know if that's right, but I think it is. Anyway, the conversation was about children learning in school BSL and sign language. Do they need it because, they're hearing, they're good enough? That's what I heard when I was younger. Yes, I'm hearing, I'm only half deaf, but you're good enough, you don't need more support. But I still struggled. I still had problems. There were still issues at school. Those that are profoundly deaf but have cochlear implants, yes, can hear better than not having the cochlear implants. But it doesn't mean that they can hear. It's not the same. I'm not 100% sure this is true, but I heard, yes, heard, that children are profoundly deaf when they're reading at a much younger age than their peers because BSL, because being deaf is a different language. So if the children aren't learning at school sign language, how are they going to communicate when they grow up? I don't have an answer to that, I don't know, but I think it's a point of conversation that I would, ask any sort of teacher inside of a school, a mainstream school, or a deaf school. Like, what are your thoughts? Now, normally I would have lunch around 12:30, but because I went out to the BSL meetup, I had lunch a little bit later, and I had a meeting after the BSL meetup. So I actually had lunch at 4 o'clock. It's the first thing I ate during the day. And when I'm having my lunch, yes, I'm watching TV. Normally it's the news. This time it was Wimbledon. I'm thinking about what it was that happened in the morning. And when I was thinking about the school situations when it comes to the new GCSE, I wonder, will the teachers get the time to learn the sign language to teach the sign language? Are they going to bring in people that know sign language? If they do, is that level 1, level 2, level 3? Like, where do you need to be at a base level to start teaching a new language? I know French, German, Spanish, you bring in people that can speak the language somewhat fluently. I am not fluid in BSL at all, but I'm more fluid than other teachers at the moment. So I don't know, it's a question that I was just thinking about whilst watching Wimbledon. And then on top of that, when I think about the other sports, so tennis is obviously was on my mind when I was watching Wimbledon, but you've got football, basketball, rugby, obviously I'm in trampoline. Those sports have skills. We have names of skills. So in trampoline there's a tuck jump, a pike jump, a straddle jump, seat landing, front landing. Well, in sign language, in BSL, in SSE, and ASL, and any sign language you're using, there's no sign for those sorts of skills. You could finger spell them, but finger spelling all of those words is going to take a long time. So what I realised is when COVID came out and the pandemic hit, the community, the deaf community, came up with a sign for COVID. I imagine what coaches, activity providers, educators would need to do in situations where there is a name for a skill but no sign is come up with a sign for either the individual they're working with, which is what I'm doing at the moment, or for the community in some way. And this to me is quite empowering for those that are deaf because they have control of the language. And the more I thought about this, the more I realized actually this might be helpful for those that are hearing as well, because when you're going across the room, so in trampoline, if you've got 2 or 3 trampolines in the way, you could use sign to support the language, which I think we already do to an extent. We put our hands around, we sort of put our hands to the side to sort of say seat landing, hands in front for front landing, but they're not actual signs. It's shouting with a little bit of support rather than using signs. So I think this could benefit everyone, not just those that are deaf, but I'm not entirely sure. I know many of us speak with our hands and gestures and body anyway, so maybe just emphasizing that a little bit more could be useful for everyone. I love doing the washing up because it gives me time to just think through things. I'm not needed to do anything apart from the washing up, so it's a low effort task that I can think through. And while I was doing the washing up this time, I was thinking, sign language, BSL, is a second language. So when it comes to a coaching course, would BG, as an example, British Gymnastics, BG, sorry, wrong way around, would they want to teach a course in a second language? I don't think so. So, how do you be inclusive? I don't know, inclusive to everyone if they speak different languages? My initial response is, well, get an interpreter, get someone that speaks BSL or signs BSL. But that doesn't quite work because the language is so different that the course would need to be restructured or at least thought through so that the presentation slides aren't the same. Now, the reason that I'm saying this is because some of the things that I've seen say, well, auditory learning styles are the most important. Well, if they're deaf, it's not important at all because they can't hear, they're deaf. Yeah, it's interesting. So, England are playing in the semi-finals in the Euros later. I'll probably put the result on screen because I'll be editing it tomorrow, or editing this tomorrow. But I want to go through some of the pre-reading resources for the Level 1 course for trampoline. But each time I look through it, I get a little bit more frustrated, a little bit more irritated about what's being said. So I can only get through like 5 or 6 slides before I start headbutting the wall. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do next before the football. For a little bit of context, I've got an undergraduate degree in sports coaching. I have a postgraduate master's degree in strength and conditioning. But according to British Gymnastics, you need to be qualified to their specifications, have their piece of paper, as it were. So I'm actually doing the Level 1 next week, and there are 4 3-hour webinars, and there's some pre-reading, and the pre-reading is what I'm doing at the moment so that I can turn up to the sessions and be prepared for what it is they're going to talk about. I recognise this is a level 1, I recognise some people will go in as beginners, but if you can't work out that the gymnastics environment is the room you're doing gymnastics in, why are you trying to be a coach? Like, I don't understand how you can get that question wrong. And I don't understand when it says, what do you think your responsibilities are? And one of the answers is to keep yourself safe. Like, how would you not put that as an answer? It just seems extremely basic, and I don't understand how this is, £300. But there is the rest of the course to go, so maybe that's where the value is. I've just listened to their feedback video, and my feedback on their feedback video would be, can you not be patronising, belittling, and make it so scripted, because it's painful. Now, while I was pushing through the slides of that presentation, I think the thing that's irritating me the most is the amount of time this is taking, because I listen to videos on YouTube at times 2 speed. These videos are at times 1, and they're speaking very slowly, so I could get through the video far quicker, still maintaining comprehension. And then towards the end of the video, I then need to click through all of the slides. Some of the slides are very simple. A risk assessment is about assessing risk, but there are 4 bullet points that I have to wait to appear, and then I get a quiz at the end, and if I could get the answers to the quiz right, I don't understand why I would need to do the 10-minute presentation beforehand. So maybe just suggestion pre-test, then do the presentation, then post-test, because if I know the answers in pre-test, why would I need to do a presentation to identify what a hazard is? Just an idea. Oh, and just a quick note, gymnastics and trampoline. Yes, trampoline is a discipline of gymnastics, but I'm not going to deal with vaults, beam, rings, so talking about those apparatus is useless to me, and again, it's taking up time that I would rather be doing something else. Now, I do want to be clear, I do like the idea of standardised education, standardised qualifications, because it brings up the professional standards, or should at least, of those coaches. However, those with education that have done it like me in a degree or in other sports, I think have experience and have qualifications and have the understanding enough to sort of not necessarily skip the level 1, but be able to go through it much faster just to confirm that they do understand. So if we're doing an assessment of someone's ability to coach, but we require them to do lectures or resources like this, which they already know the answers to, they can already do, they have experience of, and maybe even have more expertise than the resources, then why do they need to go through it? When it comes to, but obviously this relates to the athletes becoming coaches, maybe the athletes have got experience of playing the sport, so they're skipped level 1, level 2, you see it in football all of the time. Professional athletes go to coach professional teams because it's guessed that they know how to be a professional coach. But that's not quite the same, because being a player is different from being a coach. But in this situation, if you've got an coach that has high levels of expertise that's having to do a coaching course, they have to start at level 1, unlike the performer, the athlete, which to me seems backwards. If anything, it would be the other way around. And I've heard stories where you've got ex-professional rugby coaches going into another sport, as example athletics. This is a story I've been told. He was a level 3 or level 4 rugby coach, coaching international rugby, then goes to athletics and has to do the level 1. And that is so painful for a coach. But if someone in athletics does the 100-meter track and competes at a county level, they might be able to, again, I can't confirm this, but skip the level 1, which to me is just backwards and wrong, and it's frustrating for all coaches. Like I'm answering some of these questions, and I'm giving the answer that I know they want me to give, but not the answer that I feel is true, because the answer that I feel is true isn't in the selection. It's a multiple choice question where I don't think the answer is there. It's so irritating. Like I've just said, don't bend your back when you're lifting something, but you need to bend your back when you're lifting some things. First half, good. Second half, it was okay, but we won. We're in the final, so I don't care.